All right, ready to dive into some serious life design inspiration?
Oh, I'm ready.
Awesome. We're going deep on Tim Ferriss's The 4-Hour Workweek. You know, the book that kind of flipped the script on the whole work-life thing?
Yeah, it's a classic for a reason.
Definitely. So, ready to uncover the secrets to escaping the 9 to 5 and building a life, a life you actually love.
I mean, who isn't? Sign me up.
Right. I think what makes Ferriss so compelling is he's not just like offering tips.
Yeah.
He's like challenging the whole system.
Right.
Like right off the bat, he throws out this question: is it really necessary to work like a slave to live like a millionaire?
It makes you stop and think, for sure.
It really does. It's like, whoa, hold on. Is that the only option?
Totally. And to prove his point, he hits you with this story
Right.
about taking a break from his crazy work schedule to compete in the Tango World Championships.
No way.
Yeah, I know. It's like, okay, this guy clearly isn't playing by the usual rules.
No, he's not. It's
Yeah.
like it completely reframes what this success can look like.
Exactly. It's not just about the big paycheck anymore.
Right.
It's about freedom.
Yeah.
The freedom to, to pursue your passions, to design a life that actually fits you.
Fits you. Yeah.
He calls these folks the new rich.
Okay.
And frankly, it's a club I wouldn't mind joining.
Me neither. And you know what else? This whole idea of retirement.
Yeah.
Ferriss, he's not buying it.
Mm.
He flat out says retirement isn't the goal.
Interesting.
What do you think he means by that? Is he saying, like, we should never stop working?
I don't think so. I think,
Yeah.
he's kind of pushing back against this idea of, like, grinding for 40 years
Yeah.
and then finally getting to enjoy life, right?
Okay.
What if we could build that enjoyment in from the beginning?
Oh, I like that.
He points out that our energy and interests, they're cyclical.
Right.
So maybe instead of waiting for retirement, we should be thinking about how to, weave in
Yeah.
mini adventures and breaks into our lives right now.
Like almost like those sabbaticals.
Exactly. He calls them mini retirements.
I like that.
We'll dig into those more later.
Okay.
But the point is, he wants you to ask yourself,
Yeah.
what would I do if work wasn't the center of my life?
Okay, so we're ditching the old script, right? Where do we go from there? How do we actually start designing this dream lifestyle?
Well, he lays out this really practical framework
Okay.
called DEAL.
Deal.
Stands for definition, elimination, automation, and liberation.
Gotcha.
It's about, like, taking control
Okay.
and making conscious choices rather than just, drifting along on autopilot.
I like that. So break it down for us. What does definition actually mean in this context?
Okay, so it's all about getting crystal clear on what you actually want your life to look like.
Right.
Ferriss is a big believer in creating what he calls dreamlines.
Dreamlands.
Think of it like a visual roadmap, right?
Mhm.
For your goals, both short-term and long-term. He's got some cool exercises in the book for actually mapping these out.
So it's not just wishful thinking. It's about turning those dreams into, like, concrete plans.
Exactly.
But, sometimes, like, happiness feels like such a vague goal.
Yeah,
How do you even pin that down?
that's where Ferriss gets super practical.
Okay.
He says, forget happiness for a second.
Okay.
Instead, think about specific activities or experiences or achievements that would, like, light you up.
Okay.
Like maybe it's learning to play a new instrument,
Yeah.
traveling to, like, a specific country,
Mm.
or launching, a side hustle you're passionate about.
Right. It's like figuring out the puzzle pieces that make up that big picture happiness idea.
Right, exactly.
I like that. So once we've defined what we want, it's time for elimination, right?
Yes.
What's that all about?
This is where Ferriss really brings the tough love.
Okay.
He's a huge fan of the 80-20 principle. You're familiar with that?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
That idea that 80% of your results come from just 20% of your efforts.
Right.
He wants you to look at your work, your commitments, even your customer list if you have one,
Mm-hmm.
and ask, what's draining my energy without giving me much in return?
So basically, being ruthless about cutting out the fluff.
Yes,
Focusing on what actually moves the needle.
absolutely.
Is he really suggesting, like, we fire clients, even if they're technically bringing in some income?
He does. He even shares this anecdote
Oh, wow.
about firing 2% of his customers
Okay.
who were causing him the most stress.
Wow.
It was a bold move, but it freed up his time and mental energy to focus on the 98% who were a joy to work with.
Okay, yeah, I can see how that would be a game changer.
It is.
But how do we even identify those energy vampires in the first place?
Think about your to-do list,
Yeah.
your inbox, your daily routine.
Yeah?
Where are you putting in a ton of effort for very little payoff? Maybe it's responding to emails that could be automated,
Right.
attending meetings that could be skipped, or chasing after clients who, aren't the right fit.
So by eliminating those energy drains, we free up time and mental space for what truly matters.
Exactly.
Okay, that makes sense. All right, let's move on to the automation part of the deal framework. What's Ferriss's take on that?
This is where he gets really into outsourcing
Mm.
and the power of virtual assistants.
Oh, okay.
He shares this funny story
Oh, yeah.
about how he hired some VAs, virtual assistants,
Okay.
and they were almost too nice.
What?
Like, they actually softened the tone of his emails without him even realizing it.
Oh, that's hilarious. But I have to admit, the whole idea of outsourcing feels a bit intimidating to me. Like, where do you even start? What kind of tasks can you realistically hand off to someone else?
Oh, you'd be surprised how much you can actually delegate.
Okay.
From scheduling appointments, managing your inbox, even, things like researching travel deals or managing social media.
Huh.
Ferriss provides tons of resources and tools for finding and working with virtual assistants effectively.
So it's like building a team almost
Yeah,
to help you manage all the things you don't love doing so you can focus on, what you do best.
exactly.
It's starting to sound like we're on the path to sipping cocktails on a beach somewhere.
Well, that's where the liberation part of deal comes in.
Right.
This is all about creating the freedom to actually enjoy the life you're designing.
Okay. Yeah.
And one of Ferriss's big ideas here is the concept of mini retirements.
Oh, yeah, those.
He's a big advocate,
Yeah.
right, for taking extended breaks from work throughout your life, not just waiting for that traditional retirement age.
Right.
He tells this incredible story
Oh, yeah.
about planning a 4-week trip
Yeah.
that he ended up extending to 15 months.
Wow, that's amazing.
And he makes the point that, these mini retirements don't have to break the bank.
Okay.
In fact, long-term travel can sometimes be cheaper than staying put. Think about it. No rent or mortgage, potentially lower cost of living.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a really intriguing thought. But I think a lot of people would say, sure, that sounds great in theory, but I have a job, responsibilities. I can't just disappear for months at a time.
Right.
How does he address that very real concern?
He's got you covered there, too. He provides tons of tips for negotiating remote work arrangements,
Oh, okay.
even with bosses who might be, resistant at first.
He even shares a story about a guy named Dave
Yes.
who managed to negotiate working remotely
Right.
so he could be with his girlfriend who lived overseas.
Yeah,
Pretty inspiring.
it is. And, this trend of remote work is only growing.
Right.
More and more companies are realizing the benefits, both for employees and the bottom line.
Yeah.
So it might not be as far-fetched as you think.
So we've gone from questioning the traditional work model
Yeah.
to defining our dream lifestyle, eliminating energy drains, automating tasks,
Yes.
even exploring the possibility of mini retirements.
It's exciting, isn't it?
It's a lot to take in, but it's incredibly exciting.
It is. And we're just getting started.
I think what's really interesting is how Ferriss reframes risk.
Oh, yeah.
He says that playing it safe,
Right?
clinging to that 9 to 5, even if it's like soul crushing,
Yeah.
that's actually the biggest risk.
It really is. It's that, what if that haunts you, right? The regret of, not taking a chance
Yeah.
on something you truly care about.
Right.
Ferriss, he really encourages us to,
Yeah.
examine our fears, break them down,
Yay.
see if they're really as scary as they seem.
He has this whole exercise, right, called fear setting,
Oh, yeah? Yeah.
where you actually write down your worst case scenarios. Have you
Yeah.
ever tried that?
I have. It's amazing how putting those fears on paper,
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
can just take away their power.
Right.
But you start to see that, even if things don't go perfectly,
Yeah.
you can usually find a way to bounce back.
So it's not about being fearless.
Right.
It's about being strategic and having a plan.
Yeah.
So, okay, let's say we've faced our fears, defined our dream lifestyle. Now, how do we actually make it happen?
Right.
I mean, there's still work to be done, right?
Absolutely. But Ferriss has, some pretty unconventional ideas about productivity.
Okay.
He's not about that whole, hustle harder, grind all day mentality.
Oh, okay.
He actually thinks working less such can make you more effective.
Wait, explain that one to me.
Okay. So it's all about being intentional, right?
Yeah.
With your time and energy.
Okay.
He talks about this low information diet.
Oh, okay.
which is basically being super selective about what you consume,
Okay.
both in terms of information and tasks.
So instead of drowning in emails, constantly checking social media, trying to do a million things at once, you're like laser focused on what
Yes.
truly matters.
Exactly. He suggests things like checking email only a couple of times a day,
Okay.
batching similar tasks together, learning to say no
Right.
to anything that doesn't align with your goals.
Right. Right.
I've actually tried some of these techniques myself.
Yeah.
They're game changers.
I can imagine. I'm definitely guilty of getting sucked into that, the email vortex.
It's so easy to do.
It is, but what about those unavoidable interruptions?
Yeah.
Like that coworker who always pops by your desk for a chat.
Oh, I know that person.
Right.
Ferriss has got some clever hacks for that, too.
Okay.
He talks about using headphones, right, to signal that you're in deep work mode,
Yeah.
or even having pre-scripted responses, it's to
Right.
politely deflect distractions.
Right.
It's about setting those boundaries
Yes.
and protecting your focus.
Boundaries are crucial, and this all ties back to what we were talking about earlier with delegation and outsourcing. He even takes it a step further, right? And suggests outsourcing parts of your personal life.
He does. He has people managing his calendar,
Yeah.
booking his travel,
Really?
even researching potential investments. It sounds crazy at first, but it frees up his time and mental bandwidth
Yeah.
for the things he truly enjoys.
Okay, I'm starting to see the appeal, but realistically,
Yeah.
can everyone afford to outsource their whole life?
Well, it's definitely an investment,
Right.
but it doesn't have to be all or nothing.
Okay.
You can start small, maybe just by outsourcing one or two tasks.
Yeah.
And as you free up more time and income, you can gradually, scale up.
So it's about finding that balance and
Yeah.
building a system that works for you.
Exactly.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit and talk about the money side of things.
Okay?
I mean, financial freedom is a big part of this whole lifestyle design equation, right?
It is, absolutely. But Ferriss's approach to income it's really different.
Oh,
It's not just about getting a high-paying job.
yeah.
It's about creating passive income streams.
Right.
He calls it finding your muse,
Your use.
a business or project,
Yeah. Yeah.
that can generate income even when you're not actively working.
So like that classic make money while you sleep idea.
Exactly.
But how do you even find your muse?
Right.
I feel like a lot of people struggle with that.
They do, but he provides a really clear framework
Okay.
for brainstorming and testing product ideas with a big emphasis on minimizing risk.
Okay.
He's not about sinking a ton of money into a complex business plan
Yeah.
before you even know if there's a market for it.
He's all about action and experimentation,
Yeah.
right? Getting your product or service out there like quickly as possible
Right.
and then iterating based on feedback.
Exactly. He calls it the minimum viable product approach.
Right.
It's about launching with the simplest version of your idea
Yeah.
and then refining it as you go.
And you know what? I think this applies to more than just business.
I agree.
It's about being willing to experiment, in all areas of life, to try things out and see what sticks.
I love that.
That's such a great point. It's about embracing that entrepreneurial spirit, even if you're not starting a, traditional business.
Right.
Okay, so let's say we've found our muse.
Yes.
We've got some passive income flowing. What's next?
Well, Ferriss has this interesting concept he calls filling the void.
Filling the void. Okay.
It's about recognizing that once you have more freedom, time,
Yeah.
you might suddenly find yourself feeling a bit, empty.
Like you've achieved the dream.
Yeah.
But now you don't know what to do with yourself.
Exactly. It's like that post-vacation blues, but on a bigger scale.
Right, right.
He says it's crucial to have a plan
Okay.
for how you're going to fill that space.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you might end up feeling lost and unfulfilled.
So it's not just about escaping the 9 to 5.
Right.
It's about having something meaningful
Yes.
to replace it with.
Exactly. He encourages us to think about our passions, our values, and how we want to contribute to the world.
Yeah.
It could be learning a new skill, starting a creative project,
Right.
volunteering, or even launching another side hustle. That aligns with your heart.
It's about finding that sense of purpose,
Yeah.
that thing that gets you up in the morning
Yeah.
and makes you excited to be alive.
Exactly.
And you know what? I think that's something we all crave,
I agree.
whether we're working a traditional job or, living the 4-hour work week dream.
Absolutely. It's about creating a life that's not just free from obligation,
Right.
but rich with meaning and connection.
It really is about designing a life that feels aligned with who you are at your core.
It is.
Ferriss has this great question, right? He says,
Yeah.
what would I do if I couldn't fail?
Oh, wow.
It's like, what if fear wasn't holding you back? What would you go for?
Such a powerful question. It pushes you to think beyond those limitations, those self-imposed limitations we put on ourselves.
Absolutely.
And he uses these amazing examples in the book.
Oh, yeah.
Like, there's this guy,
Yeah.
right, who built a whole business selling sound effects online while traveling the world.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and there's another one about a guy who negotiated a remote work setup
Yeah.
so he could pursue his passion for adventure travel.
It's so inspiring, isn't it?
It is.
Like seeing how people are using these principles
Yeah.
to create such like unconventional and fulfilling lives.
It really shows that, there's no one-size-fits-all approach.
Right.
You can take these principles
Right.
and adapt them
Yeah.
to your own, unique goals and dreams.
I think what resonates most with me
Yeah.
is that this isn't just about working less.
Right.
It's about living more.
Exactly.
It's about being present,
Yeah.
intentional, and creating a life that truly reflects your values.
Yeah.
It's about like reclaiming that sense of agency,
Yes.
of being the architect of your own life
Yes.
rather than just letting it happen to you.
So we've covered a lot of ground here today.
We have from challenging the traditional work model to exploring the power of automation.
Yeah.
Even embracing mini retirements.
Right.
What's the one big takeaway you want to leave our listeners with today?
I think Ferriss puts it best,
Yeah.
when he asks, what if the biggest risk wasn't making mistakes, but missing out on the things that truly matter because we're too afraid to break free from the default path?
Yo, that's such a thought-provoking question.
It is.
Yeah, it was, it's a reminder that life is happening now.
Mm.
And we have the power to choose,
Yeah,
right?
right.
How we want to spend our precious time and energy.
It's about being bold, taking action, and designing a life
Yeah,
that is both exciting and meaningful.
right.
And remember, even small changes
Mm-hmm.
can make a huge difference.
Absolutely. So for all of you out there listening, we hope this deep dive has sparked some new ideas
Yeah.
and given you the tools to start designing a life you truly love.
I hope so.
Don't forget to check out the show notes for links to all the resources we mentioned.
Yes, and remember, you don't have to do it all at once. Just, take that first step,
Right.
experiment,
Yeah.
and see where it leads you.
Thanks for joining us on this journey, everyone.
Yes, thank you.
Until next time, keep learning, keep exploring, and keep designing that dream life.